Despite being ousted from the co-leadership of the Green Party on Saturday, it appears James Shaw is going to win it back with relative ease. Let's bring in NBR political editor Brent Edwards. So, Brent, what was behind the push to remove James Shaw as co-leader at the Greens AGM?
Look, there was just a lot of frustration, it seems, about what some Green Party activists see as the lack of progress on climate change policy. While actually James Shaw as Climate Change Minister has achieved quite a lot, it's still not gone as far or as fast as many of those Green activists would like. I mean, James Shaw himself has said that he would he'd like to see more action, but within the constraints of the fact that they're part of a government where actually the Labor Party doesn't even need their votes to actually govern, you don't have a lot of leverage. So, but also it's interesting, James Shaw has actually posted on Facebook and has acknowledged the concerns, but also said that he's also aware that it is about himself as co-leader and a sense that maybe he wasn't interacting often enough with the members. And he's given that commitment that he will actually, if re-elected, try and spend a lot more time on his job as co-leader rather than just always being focused on his job as climate change minister.
Yeah, but is it a sign of deep division within the party, though?
I'm not sure about deep division, but it's a sign of ongoing, if you like, differences that have always been there within the party. And I guess, you might say between those activists who take a purer view, if you like, and really don't want to compromise on particularly climate change policy, and I guess a more pragmatic approach that if you're going to make change, you've got to be part of the government. But obviously when you're part of the government, it means that you have to make compromise. And so there's always that tension. I mean, James Shaw himself has made the point, and he's right, that, they've made more progress on climate change policy in the last 4 or 5 years probably than in the previous 20 or 30. But that still doesn't sit well for those activists who look at the climate crisis, see what's happening, and argue that much more urgent action is needed. So, it's that, I guess, that kind of clash between a more pragmatic approach against a much more pure, principled approach that's sort of kind of leading this debate.
How damaging might all this be for the Greens? The election's just, 12 months away?
Yeah, look, I guess when you look at the major parties, Labor and National, when you see leadership divisions and what have you, it is generally not good for those parties. They tend to lose support when there's that sense of instability around the leadership. It might be a little bit different for the Green Party. I mean, much will depend on what happens over the next week or so. At the moment, a number of key people who might have been seen as challenging James Shaw, particularly Chloe Swarbrick, have said they're not going to stand for the co-leadership, but there is at least one Green List MP, Tano Tuano, who is saying he's still considering whether he might stand. So it will, I suppose, all depend on what comes out of that. And if James Shaw is re-elected, which seems most likely, will that group of activists who actually pushed to open up nominations again and effectively oust him from the job, will they be satisfied with him staying there? He's certainly doing everything he can, I think, to reach out to those people and to sort of, I guess, meet up with and meet the kind of issues that they have raised and sort of address those. So in that sense, you'd imagine that the Greens will get over this and move into election year in pretty good shape. But, we won't know really until the next week or two, at least. Well, maybe actually the election's probably about a month away.
Thanks, Brent. That's political editor Brent Edwards.